Okay, Rich, I'll let you take it from here.
All right. Hey, I appreciate it, David. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're called in from. I know David mentioned we have a pretty diverse audience representing not only states all across the country, but we've got some international folks too, all the way from Italy even. So thanks for joining us today. My name is Richard Pipe. I'm a GSA customer service director. A little bit about my background. I've been in federal acquisition for going on 13 years. The first 10 was spent with as a civilian in the Air Force as an 1101 program manager, acquisition program manager. Then the last 3+ with GSA as a customer service director. GSA eBuy is kind of something near and dear to my heart since I've always been in federal acquisition. And so I look forward to walking you through what GSA eBuy is, how to use it. On the poll, it looked like there was a pretty diverse audience as far as experience utilizing GSA for acquisition. So we're going to have something for everybody today. So even if you have no idea, you've never heard of GSA till today, or if you're a pro and you've been using GSA eBuy like a champ, we're going to have some pro tips in there and some information to get you started on using eBuy for GSA acquisitions. So welcome all. So to get started, I'm going to go over just kind of what we're going to cover today. I'm going to give you an overview of eBuy and its usage. Of those that don't have an account or have never registered for an eBuy account, we're going to show you exactly how to set up an account so that you can utilize this great acquisition tool. I'm going to show you guys how to set up multi-factor authentication, tongue twister. And then also, we already have a million passwords and usernames in our lives. I'm going to show you how there's a quick way to connect your PIV or CAC so that you do not have to remember yet another password and username. It'll be a really quick click and you're in login situation. So we're going to go over that as well too. I'm going to show you how to create and post a sample RFQ live. So we're actually going to exit the presentation. I don't want this to be a death by PowerPoint situation. So I want to try to keep you guys engaged. We're going to go live into a GSA eBuy later, and I'm going to show you how to build an RFQ and the different functions within eBuy that you can use to do that. Then I'm going to show you, we're going to go back into the presentation because there's some things I can't show you live. We have some screenshots and I'll show you how you can use eBuy to evaluate offers you received, even the option to issue award notifications. And then we're going to have some time for questions. As David mentioned, if you do have questions as we go through the presentation, please submit them in that Q&A box to make sure we get to them. Sometimes it'll be something that David can go ahead and answer as they're asked. Otherwise, we're going to get through that log of questions at the end of the presentation. And then one other thing, I like to give this, let you guys know ahead of time. I am working, from home. This is a remote presentation. I do have a furry four-legged coworker. His name is Hobbs. He is a 85+ pound black lab mix. So if you hear some barking in the background, I just like to throw that out there. Apologies ahead of time, but he is hypervigilant. If you hear barks in the background, it could mean that there is an axe murderer walking up my front steps, or it could be a leaf tumbling across the front yard. Couldn't tell you which one, couldn't distinguish it. So just want to give you guys a heads up. If you hear barking, apologies ahead of time. So we're going to jump into the presentation. So what is eBuy? So GSA eBuy is a powerful and intuitive acquisition tool that you can use. And importantly, it is FAR compliant, okay? This is the tool you're going to use in order to access any kind of GSA contract, whether it be mass schedules, whether it be any government-wide acquisition contracts or GWACs. Some people out there might have heard of Oasis or Alliant 2. Those are some of our GWACs that we have available. This is the way that you can access those contract vehicles that are GSA contract vehicles and issue an RFI or RFQ to either get quotes or perform market research. So it's a very powerful tool. It's very user-friendly, as you'll see today as we kind of walk you through how to use GSA eBuy. And it's just a great tool to have in your acquisition toolkit. There's never only one way to approach an acquisition, but this can be a very, very powerful tool in your acquisition toolkit that you can use to evaluate, whether there are GSA solutions for your particular requirement. And if there are, a great way to issue an RFQ to receive quotes and evaluate and award a GSA contract using eBuy. So we're going to go through all that today. So let's talk about, what's a good use case for eBuy, right? When should I be thinking about using this? And the answer is going to be very, very broad. If you have a requirement where you have a service requirement, you can get quotes for services. If you have a requirement for commodities and you're trying to get the lowest price technically acceptable, for example, you can issue an RFQ and obtain volume discounts beyond contract pricing. One pro tip, if you are familiar with GSA contracts, any price you see listed on a GSA contract is a ceiling price. So I like to that's one little pro tip for you. Those prices can't be quoted any higher than GSA contract prices, but they can be quoted lower. For example, if you're buying something in a very high volume, oftentimes you will see quotes come in lower than those listed prices to obtain that business. It could be used for complex requirements. We talked a second ago about commodities. You could use GSA eBuy to stock up on printer paper for the year for your organization, or you can use GSA eBuy for complex product and service requirements. So it's very, very flexible a format that you can use for a wide range of simple to complex requirements. Another great thing that I really like to emphasize is, you don't need to use GSA eBuy when you're ready to receive quotes and make a purchase. You can also use GSA eBuy as a great market research tool by issuing RFIs. And when we get in the live RFQ demonstration, I'm going to show you how with one simple click, you can turn an RFQ into an RFI and use it to perform market research. You might have a requirement that lands on your desk and you're not sure, hey, man, I don't even know if GSA has a contract solution for this. But then you might identify, okay, well, maybe it fits under this particular mass sin or this particular GSA GWAC. How about I issue an RFI to those vendors and see what kind of interest and replies we get to see if this could play into our market research. So again, you can use it for RFIs and sources sought as well, not just getting quotes. And then also you can obtain quotes directly against BPAs or blanket purchase agreements. You can here's another minor pro tip. Using GSA mass schedules, you can set up BPAs, a single or multiple award. So once you set that BPA up, you can use GSA eBuy to issue to those vendors and receive quotes against those BPAs. So apologies that this slide is a little outdated. So this is our eBuy activity back in FY 2021. But it gives you an idea of how much activity happens over the course of a year. And this has been increasing from year to year. In FY 2021, yeah, see, as I told you, I warned you about the barking. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think we're good for now. Okay, so 54,000 RFQs representing $15.8 billion in estimated award value. We averaged 3 quotes per RFQ issued. Over 453 of those in FY21 were over $1 million in award value. So again, it can be used for small contract awards. It can be used for large contract awards. A lot of flexibility in the tool. Our top 3 posters were Air Force, Navy, and Army. And some of our top commodities were IT, hardware and software, hardware and tools, and professional services. So let's give you some examples of what people are posting RFQs for, so you can kind of figure out, okay, are my requirements applicable? Could this be a useful tool for me? So it can be something as simple as office furniture, flat panel monitors. So just think IT equipment, printers. Now we go into services, water treatment services, shredding services, if you have to shred documents on a quarterly basis or weekly basis, a Tai Chi instructor. When I first joined GSA, or before I actually joined GSA, for whatever reason in my head, I assumed, oh, GSA is just your office supply person, right? We buy printer paper and staples and stuff. It'll blow your mind what you can buy on a GSA schedule. So in Tai Chi instructor, that's an example. Those services are available via GSA contract. You can even buy, I think I've seen helicopters are on GSA schedule as well. And we've actually had some state and local governments purchase those helicopters off GSA schedules. But anyway, just a completely mind-blowing array of things you can get off GSA schedule. A crane suspended man basket. Try and say that 5 times fast. Screws, nails, and staples, again, basic commodities. a Section 106 cultural resource survey. This was done in support of the Native Village in Alaska. Here's just a fun fact of the day. Section 106 cultural resource survey is a study that's required before there's any kind of construction or work done in a federally protected land. So another cool, unique requirement issued or awarded under an RFQ. And then last but not least on this list, I have a theodolite. So this is where I want to open up the survey, or not the survey, but in the chat, if you've heard of what a theodolite is, I'm sure we got a lot of smart people on here. I'm looking at the participants. We got 123 in the chat. If you know what a theodolite is, please go ahead and type what that is in the chat. And then we'll see, who gets a gold star for today. If you've ever heard of what a theodolite is. I can promise you've probably seen one, but maybe you didn't. I can pretty much almost guarantee a lot of people have seen this before. They might have not known what it was. Okay, we're getting some answers in here. From Tonya Spry, surveyors use it, and she used it in engineering school. That is absolutely correct. Congrats to Tonya. That is exactly what it is. Yep, and we're getting some other correct answers in here too. Dorothy, surveying instrument. Brad, a precision instrument used for measuring angles. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Wow. See, I knew we had a bunch of smart people in here. So here's a picture for you. And a lot of you are going to see this picture and say, "Oh man, I've seen those on the side of the road." So yeah, it's essentially a piece of precision measuring equipment that uses lasers to measure angles. They're used a lot in land construction. So hey, nice job, guys and girls. Got some smart people in here. So those are some examples of how wide ranging our requirements are that you can use when you're issuing requirements on eBuy. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone over, what's the scope? What are some use cases? What can I do? What are the flexibilities, products, services? You can do all that. So now what I want to do is, we had a good amount of people that, didn't have a whole lot of knowledge coming in, or maybe first-time users. So before we get into the live demo of GSA eBuy, I'm going to show you all how to get registered, show you the multi-factor authentication, and then we're going to show you how to link your CAC or PIV. And again, I do want to repeat, and David said it at the outset of this presentation, these slides will be available to you. They'll be coming to you after the presentation's over, in the next, day or two after the presentation. So if I'm going a little too fast or you miss something, do not worry. You will have these references with screenshots, and you'll be able to easily follow these instructions to get registered. So just wanted to throw that out there. So here is the website address you go to get to eBuy, www.ebuy.gsa.gov. And here's just a screenshot of the landing page. So within this landing page, you're going to see a couple things. Down here, there's a little section that has an overview. There's a little button you can select for buyers that has some buyer resources in it. And then also contractors. If you're a vendor and you want to find certain information about eBuy, you can click this and it'll have applicable information for contractors or vendors. But I want to bring your attention to the buyers tab. There's some buyer's guide resources there if you need some self-help with this tool. Up above that, you're going to see this little area right here. There's just going to be some tiles that kind of move through, that kind of rotate. This is essentially the area where we'll post new information. If there's a change to eBuy, if there's an additional feature added, it'll show up here. Kind of just, hey, what's the latest and greatest on eBuy? So you can kind of keep yourself posted. So for example, when we introduce the CAC PIV linkage and allowing you to log in via that method, that would be a tile that showed up here. So it just kind of keeps you abreast on the latest and greatest on eBuy and any kind of federal acquisition information. Clicked one too far. Hold on. Let me go back. Okay, so down at the bottom, this is important. I want to bring your attention here real quick. If you need help, so there's a couple ways you can reach out for help with this tool. As I said in the beginning, I'm a customer service director or CSD with GSA. Every single one of you on this call has a local customer service director. I personally, I live in Augusta, Georgia. I support federal agencies in Augusta and the Atlanta area. But there are CSDs assigned to every single city, county, state in the country, as well as actually international CSDs that are over in Europe. So there is an individual like me that you can contact. So that's one recommendation I have for you. You'll get that personal one-on-one guidance and help and education. I have a link at the very end of the presentation that will link you to a customer service directory map. So you just click on your state and it'll list the CSDs in your state and their areas of responsibility. So that's one way to do it. If you don't have that information, you can also click on these, use these help links as well. So down here, you're going to say you're going to be a buyer. You're considered a buyer to the system since you will be issuing RFPs and RFIs. So there's an email here, GSA Advantage customer service. It says GSA Advantage because that's where your account is going to reside. You're going to be setting up a GSA Advantage account that is essentially your eBuy account. So don't get, so that could be easily confused, but don't worry, you're calling the right people. So if you have any kind of login issues, if you're having trouble accessing eBuy, this phone number right here or email, great resource. They'll be able to get your account fixed, and so you can log in again. I just like to point that out just in case you're having login issues or IT type technical issues. So let's see, up at the top here, let's see. Okay, so now in order to get registered, you're going to click, let's see, up at the top here. What I'm trying to do is my tray up at the top is kind of covering the top, so I'm having a hard time seeing it. Okay, so what we want to do to log in the top right, you're going to click on that link right up there. And then this is the screen pop-up you're going to see. This is your essentially your sign-in window. If you have your email address, this is where you plug it in and click sign in. Or if you have your CAC or PIV linked, boom, click on that and you'll get logged in. Now, we're imagining we're going to walk through this as if we don't have an account. So what we're going to do is if you don't have an account yet, you're going to click on this link at the bottom that says need help signing in. That's going to open a some secondary options, and we're going to click on this register link right here. And then that's going to send us to this GSA Advantage. So you can see at the top on the screenshot here, it's opened up a second window. And as I mentioned earlier, your account is going to be housed under GSA Advantage. So don't be worried that another window opened, or now don't be worried that you're not in eBuy. This is where your account information is going to be housed. It's going to be a GSA Advantage account. Once you set this up, you'll be able to log into GSA eBuy. So obviously for our customers here that are called in today, we're going to click on Federal Customer, click that radio button, and then click Enter. Now first thing it's going to ask you for is your government email address. Make sure you are using your .gov email address for this, or else it will not proceed to the next step. We're going to enter that, and then we're going to click Continue. That's going to lead us to the actual registration page. So you're going to be filling in all this, typical information that you would see when you're registering for any kind of profile, right? You're going to name, phone number, you're going to select your agency from this drop-down menu. You're going to type in your email address, your federal email address that you use to start the registration process. You're going to type in, you're going to create a password, and down here, you're going to see in fine print, it's got to be at least 12 characters, blah, 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 one lowercase. So as long as you follow those password rules, you'll be able to set up that password, type it in again, just to confirm that it's correct. You're going to type in a challenge question so that if you need to, you can recover or reset your password. There's going to be an ordering email verification. So part of the registration process, not only are we going to be submitting this registration form with all of our information, but before you can actually place an order on eBuy, you're going to have to verify your .gov email address. And this is just another security step to make sure that you are who you say you are, and that only you have access to your government email account. So we're going to click this radio button over so it turns green because we want to do an ordering email verification. And then down here, there's some email preference options, but once you fill out all this information, you're going to come down here and you're going to click Submit. So what's going to happen is, like I said a second ago, what we need to do is verify your government email address. So under your actual profile, once you've registered, this little message in your profile is going to be here, right? It's going to say you're not yet authorized to place orders on GSA Advantage or eBuy. To create RFQs, you need to verify your email address. So you're going to click this little button, email me. That's going to email you a passcode. So when you click that email me button, give it 5 or 10 minutes, depending on firewalls and stuff. You're going to receive this email right here, or something very similar to it. It's going to come from gsaadvantage.gsa.gov, and you're going to receive this validation code. And you're simply going to either copy and paste or grab that validation code, and in your GSA Advantage profile, you're going to put that in the little verification code box. And then once you do that, boom, you're validated. You can go on eBuy, you can purchase stuff off of Advantage, you can issue RFQs in eBuy. So your account has been set up for all intents and purposes. So that's not too bad. Again, these slides will be provided to you afterwards. So if you miss anything, or you can kind of walk yourself through the slides. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to your local customer service director, and they'll be more than happy to walk you through the account setup process. But it's pretty straightforward, as you can see. So now that we're logged in, you do have some options for setting up additional multi-factor authentications. So, we went ahead and set up, we were forced to set up the email through our .gov email address, but you have a couple other options. Let's say you have a government cell phone, you can set up a authentication that will text your government phone a code to allow you to access it. So again, another security measure to make sure there's no unauthorized access. But you don't have to use these. The email is the only one that's required. So, but I just wanted to show you there are a couple other different options here. So now let's show you how to set up your CAC and PIV, because I don't know about you all. I have way too many passwords and usernames as it is. I'm always forgetting them, or I'm always having to have my, my phone remember them, so I don't have to remember them. So let's show you real quick how to set that up, and it's going to make your life so much easier. So at the very top right, you're going to see, if you're already logged in, there'll be that message up at the top right that says, hi, comma, and then your name. So we already know we're logged in. So we're going to go ahead and click that's going to send us to our account. And as you're in GSA eBuy, it's going to show you, okay, here's your account information, here's your phone number, email. So what we're going to do is we're going to click go to GSA Advantage member information. And this is going to send us back to where we were when we registered. So it's that GSA Advantage profile that we created. So now we're on the main page of our profile. As you can see, we have some tabs up here. We're going to click on Register PIV CAC card. It's going to ask, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, we're going to click Continue. Certificates are going to pop up. Depending on what agency you work for, you might have multiple certificates. You want to select the appropriate one, and you want to click OK. It's going to ask, hey, are you sure? This just tells you, hey, make sure that the expiration date is listed here is the same one that's physically printed on your CAC card, just to make sure you're selecting the right certificate. Then we're going to click yes. And then now, when we're back on ebuy.gov, now we don't have to worry about remembering an email and password. We can come right down here and just click sign in with PIV CAC. It's going to pull up your certificate. You're going to select it, enter your PIN. Boom, you're cooking with gas. So super quick, easy way to now use that to log in versus remembering another username and password. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the meat of the presentation, and we're going to walk you through live how you can use GSA eBuy to create an RFQ/RFI, and what it looks like when we're in the tool, what types of things can we do in there. And also I got some pro tips along the way. So now we're going to go to the stage of preparing an actual RFQ in eBuy. So we're going to hop into a live demo here. And before I get in there, we're going to give you some context. Okay. So for the intents and purposes of this presentation, you've just been promoted to special agent with the FBI. You're all special agents now. And there's been a requirement thrown on your desk for ramping up FBI cybersecurity for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. So for anybody who didn't know, that's actually real. The Olympics in 2028 are coming to Los Angeles. So that'd be kind of cool if they'll be in the States. So yeah, and there's the actual, one of the logos I pulled from online. So kind of neat. But anyway, back to our task at hand. We're all special agents. We need to stay on task. So what we're going to show you as we're in the tool using this example, we're going to show you how to find sources. And you can do that either via a keyword search, a NAICS code search, or even by just simply browsing if you know what type of work you're looking for. We can show you how to locate specific contractors. I'm going to walk you through how to enter your requirement, some tips on, using the requirement title field appropriately to make sure you're, garnering the most attention for your requirement. We're going to show you how to attach documentation onto the RFQ if you have a statement of work, PWS. We're going to go over, I'm going to show you an example of how to enter line items, because that's also an option in eBuy. Like I said, this tool can be used for products, services, combinations of both, and just some additional information. And then I'm going to show you how to receive and evaluate quotes. There are some built-in options. They're not mandatory, but you can make award notifications and do some other neat things in there too. So we're going to try and show you in the next, let's see, we're at 2:27. So we got another close to 30 minutes. So I'm going to try to get through all that with you all. And so you have a good basic understanding. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sharing the slide presentation, which we will come back to. And then we are going to hop on the interweb here and go to GSA eBuy. Okay, so here we go. So now what we're going to do, so we're at the homepage, right? So this is here's a great just example. It kicked me out because I wasn't inactive. So we're on the GSA webpage, and now can you see this, David? I want to take a 1 second break to make sure that my screen's coming up for eBuy.com.
Oh, yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do, like I showed you guys and girls a minute ago, click buyer. And, you've heard me complaining about passwords and keywords. Okay, so I just recently signed in with my pivot CAC, so it actually just went ahead and logged you in. So, hey, there you go. There's a good example of how much easier that can make your life. Okay, so we're at the web page. We've logged in. See up here, it says, welcome, Richard. So we know we're logged in. So we can click on either this yellow button here that's screaming at us in that very McDonald's-y yellow, or we can go up here and click prepare a new RFQ. Either way, it's going to take you to the same page. This one sticks out to me because, shiny things. Okay, so now what I want to bring your attention to is once we click on prepare an RFQ, you're going to see this bar up here at the very top. So it has essentially little steps: search, select, prepare, and submit. This will be visible throughout our process. So you'll know exactly where you are in the process, how many steps remain before you can submit. So just a cool little status bar to keep you updated on where you're at in going from creating to initiating the RFQ. So as we scroll down a little bit, this is going to be our first stop. What we need to do first is identify and select which GSA mass schedule, SINs, or what GWACs we're going to be selecting to issue our requirement to. So as you can see here in the search box, it already tells you, hey, you can search by the schedule, the SIN. For those uninitiated, SIN stands for special item number. It's essentially a unique item. It's a unique identification. It can be all numbers or alphanumeric. It's GSA's nomenclature, where we essentially list like subcategories of the scope of work. And I'm going to show you an example. So hang on there for a second. It'll make more sense once I show you an example. Or a GWAC number or a name, anything. You can type anything in the search box and it'll come up with solutions. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see our 12 main categories. And so GSA, these are GSA's 12 main categories. So think of these as large buckets of work. So if you have an IT requirement, you'd obviously go to the information technology bucket, click it, and then you'll be able to keep drilling down as you figure out what kind of applies to your requirement. And same thing goes with security protection, human capital, office management. So if you have a general idea of what your requirement is, and you can you can use these little browsing tools to browse down to your requirement. And then if you keep going down here, BPAs is an option, technology contracts, multiple award schedules. But I want to focus up here because this is typically where you will start, 99% of the time. So I just mentioned SINs a second ago. So what we're going to do is, again, keep in mind, we're still special agents with the FBI, and we are responsible for setting up increased cybersecurity protection for the Olympics. So knowing that, we're going to browse this IT category. That makes sense, right? Cybersecurity, IT. So we're going to click on this and see what happens. Okay, so now this has opened up some subcategories. So under this, we have electronic commerce, IT hardware, services, software solutions, training, telecom. So for our particular requirement, again, I don't have to know anything about GSA or SINs, and I can keep drilling down until I get to what should be the applicable GSA solution. So for our requirement, I'm looking at IT services because we want to bring contractors on to help us bolster and operate our cybersecurity. So we're going to click explore here under IT services. Okay, now this is going to come up, multiple award schedule. Essentially, every GSA schedule contract falls under the multiple award schedule. It's just the name of the big overarching multiple award schedule is essentially the big contract that all of our vendors fall under. And it includes all 12 large categories. So we're going to click explore here under IT services. Okay, and now we're getting some numbers, some alphanumeric indicators. So these are SINs. Okay, here's an example of a SIN. So SIN 54151 hacks is called the Highly Adaptive Cybersecurity Services SIN. Hey, that sounds pretty applicable, doesn't it? This is the one we're going to end up selecting for our example here. So, and it's going to give you a description, right? It's going to give you a description on what the scope is, what are the use cases for it. So this includes a wide range of fields, risk management framework, information assurance, virus detection, network management, situational awareness, and incident response. So this is exactly what we're going to need, but I'm going to scroll down just to show you some other options. So under this one, there's a couple other SINs, right? 54151 HEAL, health information technology, 54151S, and this is just information technology professional services. So again, as you browse, you'll actually be guided to a SIN that will be a pretty good fit for your requirements. So that's one way to do it, right? So you can browse. If you don't know a whole lot about all the available solutions, you can absolutely browse and I promise you'll end up at some applicable solutions. The other way to do it is to simply search, right? So if you just want to cut right to it and you're like, I don't want to mess with this browsing, let's just type in cybersecurity and see what pops up. So we're going to type that in there. We're going to click go. And then we're going to get applicable SINs that have cybersecurity somewhere in them. So smart building system integration. Oh, look at that. That's that same one, hacks, highly adaptive cybersecurity. Then it'll keep showing you any other solution that might have cybersecurity popping up as a keyword. But I just wanted to show you that just to show you, hey, there's many ways to find or locate the specific solution you want to issue your RFQ to. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and click on this 54151 hacks for our example for cybersecurity support for the FBI. Okay, so now on this next page, you're going to see this green check mark. That's great. Now we've completed our search. So now what we're doing is we've selected our SIN, right? 54151 hacks. It's going to show you information about the vendors in this SIN. So it's going to tell me right here, I'm going to know there's 511 vendors available. So that's good. On the left, it's going to give you a socioeconomic designation breakdown. So this gives you a great idea of what the socioeconomic makeup of this group of 511 vendors is. So out of these 511, there's 402 that are small businesses. Hey, that's fantastic. And then it's going to go down the line and show you the numbers that correspond with each of those socioeconomic indicators. So the first question that you have to answer before we proceed is this a small business set aside? If we say no, then when we issue this RFQ or RFI, it's going to be viewable by every single vendor in this pool. If it is a small business set aside, and that's what we're going to make this one for our example, we're going to click yes. And you notice right here, we're starting out with 511 vendors. So if we indicate this is a small business set aside, and once you click yes, you'll be able to click the very specific or more specific type of set aside. We're going to go ahead in this example and just select small business. It's going to reload. And so now when we issue this RFQ or RFI, it's going to only go out to those 502 small businesses. So that's a very, very important question you have to ask yourself. If you are creating an RFQ, is it a small business set aside? If so, what is the set aside? And it will only go out to those vendors. So I want to, as we scroll down, so as you'll see, right now there are 0 vendors selected, okay? And we have to go in and select vendors to make sure that those vendors are going to receive this RFQ or RFI. So the easy way to do that, which I highly recommend, is just click select all. Now it seems like a lot of vendors. You might be like, oh man, I don't want to solicit 402 vendors. I might get 75 quotes, and then I'm gonna have to do tech evals. I want to reassure you that I've been doing this for three plus years, and there are some requirements that might get 10, 15 responses, but Our average response rate, as I showed you all earlier, is 3 RFQs or 3 responses per RFQ, which is exactly where you kind of want to be. You don't want to get so many that you're bogged down on technical evals, but you also don't want not enough to feel comfortable you have adequate competition. So trust me on this, click select all. One thing so here's a pro tip moment. So if you're a pro at this, you may or may not know this. So let's say I have, we're working this requirement, and let's say I know that I have 5 vendors in mind, right? I have the 5 vendors that I know. Maybe we did industry day, and all 5 reached out, and I know they can do the work, and I know that we'll get quotes. And I select those 5 vendors, and I click continue. What I want you to know is any vendor that you select at this stage that you select. So if you don't select all of them, and you just select these 5 and proceed. All that means is that those 5 vendors that you checkboxed are going to get a push notification that this RFQ has posted. But the remaining 397 can log onto their eBuy account and will be able to view and respond to that RFQ still. Okay, so by going in and selecting manually, you can do that, but just be aware that any other vendor that wasn't selected can still see it and reply to it. The only difference by not selecting them via the checkbox is that they're not going to receive a push notification. I always like to kind of explain that because it is a little counterintuitive. It seems like you could go in, oh, well, I want this one to get it, this one to get it, this one to get it. But in fact, the checkbox only indicates who's going to receive a push notification when it posts to make sure that their attention is brought to it. So what I always recommend is select all, regardless of how many vendors, and then click continue. Oh, also one other thing I'll point out here. At this stage in the game, it does list every single vendor. Obviously, it shows you the city and state that they're based out of, and socioeconomic information as well. If you forget what these indicators are, you can click it. A little legend will come up and tell you what that is. And they also have links to each of their web pages. So a lot of useful information here as well. But main focus, make sure you select all of them and click continue. It will bring up a warning box to maybe even heighten your anxiety if you had some to begin with. It says, whoa, are you sure you want to send this to 402 vendors? I promise you the answer is yes. So we're going to click yes. Okay, now, as you can see at the top, our RFQ has been saved. So we've entered where our draft is now saved as an RFQ. As you can see, it's created a unique RFQ number right here. We've checked the search. We've selected our GSA contract solution. It lists it here, 402 vendors. And now we're going to move on to the prepare stage. So another helpful little guide I want to bring your attention to here on the left side is your RFQ progress. This is a little snapshot of essentially each data field that you need to enter in order to be able to consider your RFQ complete and ready to post. And this will actually travel with us as we kind of scroll down. You'll see it'll stay right in view. So just a really helpful tool to show you what you need to address next. As you'll see, there's a couple of fields that are optional. So if you don't have something to fill in, don't worry. You're not forced. You'll still be able to submit it if you don't have an attachment or you don't have a line item. So we're going to move through this top to bottom to show you kind of how to fill it out and just some tips here and there on filling it out. Like I said earlier, here's your unique RFQ ID number. You can cancel it here. You can save a draft if not every time you're going to be able to sit down at work uninterrupted and finish something from start to finish. God knows I've always had a hard time with that working in the office. And then also the submit. Notice that the submit is not even selectable until you've hit the minimum requirements. So don't worry, you can't submit something that goes out to 1,000 vendors and then then all heck breaks loose. So it won't let you submit unless all the baseline information is filled out to satisfaction. So as you can see here, here's our hack SIN we selected. 402 vendors that are small. It's a small business set aside. One other note before we move down is you can add additional SINs. There are plenty of requirements that might fall under 1 or 2 or even 3 SINs. You can add multiple SINs to this. So don't feel like you just have to select one, especially if you're just doing market research and you just want to issue the RFI sources sought. Add as many categories as you feel are applicable. And once you click this add category, it's going to send us back to that page where you can browse or search. And so you can add on multiple GSA contract solutions. So don't be hindered by just selecting one. So the first thing you're going to have to ask that is a mandatory field is, Essentially, do you want to allow your contractors to offer supplies or services under one of the following complementary SINs? And don't worry if you've never heard of these before. Anything you notice that is blue type in eBuy is selectable, and it'll give you a handy dandy little description. So you don't feel like you have to go in here knowing everything, and don't feel like you have to guess. It'll have a great little description of what this means. In this instance, it's just ancillary supplies or services that are in support of your requirement. What we're going to do in this example, we're going to just select yes. And OLM stands for order level materials, any kind of supplies that will support the actual work. So this is a service requirement and they needed some tools or extra materials that allows them to add that into their quote as well. So we're going to click yes for this example's sake. As we scroll down, we're going to go into RFQ Info. This is a very important section. One of the things I really want to highlight here is this tiny little button that should probably be not so tiny. This button, if you check it, will turn this from an RFQ into an RFI. So if you select this box, a little check will appear and it'll turn this into a seeking sources of information only. So that way, when you submit it, that's the first thing vendors will see. They'll say, it'll show them this is a seeking sources of information only. Therefore, that's how you turn this into a more of a market research effort, instead of submitting an RFQ where you're going to get actual quotes and actual, responses that include dollar values and all that. So very, very important, tiny little box. But if you are doing, or you intend to do market research in an RFI, you've got to make sure this box is selected. That makes the vendors know that they don't have to build a quote, they don't have to submit anything, that you're essentially just doing market research or issuing a sources sought. If you do select that, seeking sources, the one thing that can be a little confusing, if I select this, right, and I want to turn this into an RFI, it's still going to say here RFQ title. It's still going to say this is RFQ number, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, as long as this box is checked, it's an RFI. It will be viewed as an RFI by the vendors in GSA eBuy. So I just want to throw that out there. You won't see this RFQ change or that designating number change, but trust me, as long as that's checked, it's an RFI. So in our example, we want to issue an RFQ because we're ready and we have a requirement nice and defined. So RFQ title, for our example, we are just going to type in FBI, cyber security support. Man, typing in public is more challenging. FBI cyber support for 2028 Olympics. I encourage you to, throw your agency in there. You want vendors to be able to know kind of the gist of what your requirement's about just by reading the title. You'll get more responses. You'll get more interested vendors. Think about it as a human being, right? If you go onto, let's Facebook Marketplace or eBuy and you're scrolling through stuff you want to buy, the title that tells you what exactly it is, in what condition, that's the title you're going to click on. So think of it that way, right? Make sure that your title is informative. It tells the vendors what agency you work with and what the gist of the requirement is, and you will never have a lack of responses. This reference number is not a requirement. This is an optional field. This is here so that, let's say your agency has assigned a certain PR number, a purchase number, a product number, or a project number to it. That'll help you just jog your memory of, oh yeah, I issued this RFQ and it's in reference to this PR package. So that's there for your own internal use. Nobody sees this. It's not issued when the RFQ is, it's just for internal use only. So description, this field is very versatile. If you have a basic requirement where you can actually easily describe the requirement, you are more than happy to copy and paste narrative. If you have a sources, like if you're doing an RFI maybe, and you have a sources sought template, you can copy and paste it in that description. Or if, let's say you have a very mature and well articulated statement of work or PWS, you can just come in here and say, please see attached PWS or SAL for requirement details. This is just a place where the vendors will see a description of the requirement if needed. Again, this really depends on the complexity of your requirement or how much you have in an attached document. If you have a PWS that maybe doesn't talk in a whole lot of detail about it, you might want to put some more information here. You might want to put the period of performance, from this date to that date. But again, there's a lot of flexibility built into these fields where you can just kind of use whatever your preference is. I've seen plenty of customers use this where they type out a description of the requirement. And I've seen people just do something like this where it's like, hey, see the statement of work PWS. I don't want to reinvent the wheel and copy and paste everything. So that's kind of up to you, but you have a lot of options using eBuy. You got a lot of options of how you want to approach it. So the next field we're going to look at is when you want your RFQ to close. When you come in here and create a new RFQ, it's going to automatically set a date. I want to say, let's see, 5 days out in the future. So it automatically is going to default to this. Any kind of service requirement, I always recommend 5 business days. The lowest you can have an RFQ out there is 2 calendar days. So keep that in mind. But like I said, default set to 5. I always recommend at least a week, if not more, for service requirements. And the more complex your requirement gets, maximize the time this is out there, because it does take vendors an awful lot of time. As you saw in one of the intro slides, you get 55,000 RFQs throughout the year. So think about, as a vendor, especially in certain categories like IT services that get flooded with RFQs, you want to give them as much time to read, understand, and respond to your requirements. So for the example of our, so right now it's, let's see, April 5th today. So for us, for this example, let's give them 2 weeks. So we're gonna have it close on April 19th. And it's kind of nice that it shows you the day to make sure you don't select closing on a Saturday or Sunday as well. So we're going to click that, and we're going to give them till, COB 5 p.m. And you got to make sure you check that box too. Okay, so now that I've checked that, so we're good on these 3 over here. Okay, now delivery. This is where you can select your delivery option. If we were doing a product, we might select the delivery box and say, 60 days after receipt of order. Since our example is a services requirement, we're going to come down here and select period of performance instead. And let's say we want them to start, let's just say we want them to start in July 31st of 2023. And since we're ramping up in anticipation of the 2028 Olympics, let's say we want them to go all the way till July of 2027. So there's your period of performance. You also have an option to do date of award to date of completion. If this is like a project that will have a completion date, you can also select that too. Or if that's an unknown completion date. Let's say you want a contractor that's gonna perform janitorial services for one time in a facility. Date of award to date of completion will allow you to kind of have that once the project's over, it's complete. And that just informs the vendors what the POP will be. So here's an important section: attached documents. In our example, we've already said in our description, hey, please see attached PWS. So one of the cool features is you can either drag and drop, or you can actually browse your computer to find it. I'm going to click here, and it's going to open where I can actually browse my laptop. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go to our little folder where we have an example. And here's our cybersecurity PWS. I'm going to click open. And as you'll see, it's yellow right now, so it's loading up. It's uploading the document. And as they say in Ghostbusters, one of my favorite childhood movie series, when the trap is green, it's green. When the trap is clean, it's green, something like that. So once it turns green, it's been successfully uploaded, so you're good to go. And like I said, you can also drag and drop. If you open a folder and drag the file, drop it here, same thing will happen and it'll load up. So now that we've uploaded that requirement document, we get the green check there. Here's an optional field. Again, if it's a service requirement, you might not have any line items, but just to kind of show you how that would look, let's say for our cybersecurity requirement, we needed additional Dell servers, right? So let's just say Dell, we want Dell servers, and we want a quantity of, let's just say 10 more to support these cybersecurity efforts. And then let's just, make up a manufacturing part number. And the last unit you got to do here, you got to select a unit. My favorite one is each. That's, a very common one. If you select a unit that it doesn't read, you're getting an error. So you'll see as you type in here, I think you can even start typing other like pound if it was pounds or acre bytes. So make sure you just select a unit that'll take, like I said, each is probably one of the most commonly used ones. And so I'm going to add this line item to the RFQ. So now we have that in there. So last but not least, see, we're all checked out here, is our shipping address. One of the great things about eBuy is that if you do repeat RFQs for the same customer, the same agency customer, it'll save any address you type in into an address book, right? So I can click, this has already been selected, FBI, 123 Quantico Drive. If this was the wrong address, you can click change, and you'll see all these different addresses that I've used previously for other supporting other agencies. So that's kind of neat. So it saves into a little electronic Rolodex. Yes, I do know what a Rolodex is, for anybody wondering. My dad used to keep one by the phone. He runs his own irrigation business. And so I have actually physically seen a Rolodex, back when I was younger. So, okay. So now that we have everything, we've entered all of our fields and we see all these green checks. That's fantastic, right? That means we're ready to submit. So we're going to go ahead and click submit. And then you're going to get this little box. This is your last chance to view what the vendors are going to view on your RFQ. So you want to make sure all these fields look the same as you entered them. Double check your close date, double check your POP. You can see it's a small business set aside. Here's our attachment is here. We're good there. Okay, we've got our line items here, and then we got our shipping address. So this is essentially your draft, right? So if I were to click submit, it would now issue this to 402 small businesses under this mass sin. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get them all spun up and excited, because that sounds like a pretty beefy requirement to me. And I don't want to, I certainly don't want to upset anybody at the FBI. So we're going to click cancel, and we're going to jump back into the presentation, and I'm going to show you some things you can do once you've actually submitted your RFQ. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our presentation, and I'm going to show you some things you can do post issuance of the RFQ. So once you click submit, this is the little notification you'll get. Yay, green check mark. You have successfully submitted your RFQ. And you'll have some options. Hey, I want to go back to the eBuy home, go to my RFQs, etc. So what I'm going to show you now is what are some things you can do after you submit your RFQ. We're going to talk about, you can forward it, you can modify it, you can send Q&As. So we have these built-in features that you can manage your RFQ appropriately, depending on what the circumstance is. So the first one I want to talk about briefly is forward. So with the forward function, you can only forward your RFQ to another coworker that already has an eBuy account set up. If you try to forward it to a coworker that doesn't have an eBuy account, or GSA Advantage account rather, it won't work. So make sure if you do use the forward function that person already has an established GSA Advantage account. I do want to warn you, when you use the forward button, make sure you very much trust that person. Because that person that you forward it to will have all the read, write, edit options that you do. There's no setting where you can limit what they can do to the RFQ. So just make sure that you trust that person. You're in lockstep. They're part of your program team. There's no animosity, because they can make changes, the same changes you could make. They have all those authorities once you forward it to somebody. The next thing I want to talk about is send Q&As. Oftentimes you might issue an RFQ and some questions might roll in from vendors, and it might be like, wow, that's a good thing. That's a good question. We never thought of that. We need to make sure all the other vendors that we issued this to have the answer to that question, because it's kind of pertinent to the requirement. So you can actually send Q&As out to the vendors. What's going to happen is when you click on Q&As, it's going to allow you to upload a document. So for example, let's say a vendor says, hey, we'd like some more specifics on this, or hey, you left out the certification requirement for that, and you need to get that information out to all the vendors. All you got to do is either create like a PDF or a Word document that has that information. And to ensure you're staying FAR compliant, all you got to do is attach that document here, click send now, and that will automatically issue out to every single one of those, in our example, 402 vendors that we initially sent the RFQ to make sure we're keeping 11, we're staying FAR compliant. All the vendors have that same information, and there's no advantage or disadvantage. Modify. You can also modify. You could have an issue where maybe the close date was too soon, or maybe you don't have enough bids by the close dates approaching. You can extend, one example is you can modify your RFQ and extend the date. So you're going to click modify, this screen's going to come up. You're going to describe your modification reason. It's going to show you again who it's going out to, essentially everybody that originally went out to. And then once you're done, you can click review and submit changes. And once you submit it, it'll show you this is mod 1. You can keep doing these. It'll keep track of what number it is. And for this example, we extended the quote date to allow more time. So you can go in and modify. Not everything's set in stone once you click the submit button. You can alter and make modifications to your RFQ. So last but not least, you have some options and evaluation and award notification through eBuy. Again, this is not a requirement. You don't have to close the loop through eBuy, but they are options for you. So we'll take a quick look at what that looks like. So on this RFQ example, it was for office supplies. As you can see here, it's closed. So this is after it's already closed. We had 2 quotes. As you can see down here, we're going to click on one just to see what information is in there. So we click on this quote ID. It's going to take us to that individual quote. It's going to have that vendor up here with the total quote prices. It's going to have any submittals if they have comments. If they have an attachment, it'll be right here. It's going to show a line-by-line breakout and the line-by-line prices for each of those and the total quote down here. A fun little section down here, a pro tip. This is called buyer notes. This is only visible to you. So this is just essentially a digital notepad so that if you have a bunch of responses and you're doing some tech evals and you want to make notes to yourself on a certain vendor's response, you can type that right down here and save now. And then when you go back to it, if you're reevaluating it at a different time, those comments and notes you've made will be there visible to you, only to you. It goes nowhere. It's just between you and eBuy. eBuy is a great secret keeper. Now, lastly, if you keep scrolling down on when you're in a single quote, you're going to see an option to either do not award, notify vendor, or award, notify vendor. Again, these are optional. You don't have to. A lot of agencies, I would say the majority of agencies I work with, do the award notification through their own financial systems, or they might do it through their own, just via email, but it is an option here for you. All it's going to do, it's going to send a notification, essentially an email to the vendor saying, hey, congratulations. This does not obligate funds. This does not consent an official award. It's just an email saying, hey, you've been awarded this contract via GSA eBuy. So one other thing I want to show you before we leave this section. If you do have a requirement where you've issued it to a ton of vendors, let's say it's a commodity purchase, right? Let's say you had to go buy, printer ink and, printer paper for the office. That's a very popular category. You might have sent an RFQ to get the lowest price to hundreds of vendors. Okay. We do have an option in eBuy where you can send a no award notification to all the vendors, and then you can unselect the vendor you chose. This closes the loop for the vendors. I mean, it technically it's just a good business practice period, but if you don't do this, then you might find yourself getting calls and emails and bombarding with, hey, from all these different vendors that you solicited saying, hey, have you awarded this yet? Hey, what's the status? Hey, we're going to hear back. Hey, we submitted a quote. So you can avoid a lot of that by using this cool little feature that will send a no award notification. And in the message, you could say, in an example of a commodity, it might be, hey, we used LPTA. I'm sorry, your firm did not provide the lowest quote. Boom. And it sends that out to every single remaining vendor. So great little time hack for you. As you can see, this is just a screenshot of what it looks like if you use that award notification. It'll just show awarded under this particular requirement that's closed. You'll see a little awarded button next to the vendor you chose. Okay, I know I'm running thin on time. I'll get through these last 2 things. We'll open up to questions. So we have a reissue button as well. What that'll do is, let's say your RFQ closed, and let's say that you didn't get any vendors or you had to make an edit to it. You can click reissue. It will copy and paste and create a different RFQ with a different number. And then you can make any little tweaks you want, or you can extend a date out further. Just an easy way so you don't have to create it all over again from scratch. So that's a great little feature to reissue. And then you have another option, you can archive. So these are, these are options after it's closed. You can reissue it, you can archive it. If it's a requirement that you have to do every year, 2 years, you can archive it in eBuy. And that way, in 2 years' time, when you have to go back and issue that same requirement, you can pull it out of the archive, dust it off. Obviously, you'll update issue date, you might update a PWS, but at least the bones will be there, so you don't have to, again, reinvent the wheel. So in summary, we covered an overview of eBuy and how to use it. We showed you how to register an account. We created and posted an RFQ for cybersecurity support for the 2028 Olympics, showed you how to modify and forward it, and then also showed you how you can evaluate quotes and make award notifications through eBuy. So without further ado, it looks like it's 3:01. I apologize. I went a minute over. It's a lot of information. I was talking really fast, but I do want to thank everybody for calling in today. Again, I left you this link, which you will get a copy of this that will send you to your GSA customer service directory. So I encourage you, if you have further questions about this, how to set up your account, you need somebody to walk you through it. Please utilize that one-on-one person that's designated to your state or locality. And thanks for attending. You're going to be getting a 1 CLP for attending today's class. When you get that, I encourage you, if you have a minute, please fill out the survey. It's our chance to get feedback from you all. We want to make these training sessions as useful and as useful as possible. And so with your feedback, that helps us fine tune things. If you said, hey, Rich talked too fast, or hey, you spent too much time on this, I wish you would have covered this. Those are all super helpful comments. So if you have time, we love hearing back from you on the survey as well. So without further ado, I'll hand it back over to David to close this out.
Sure. Thanks, Rich. And thank you everyone for attending. I know we're on the hour here, so if you have to drop off, feel free. There are 6 questions in the Q&A pod, Rich. I don't know if you want to take those now, or I can just send you the Q&A report and you can answer folks, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I've got some time, so I can stay on. If you need to leave and drop off, folks, please feel free to drop off, and we appreciate you attending. And thanks for joining us today. And we can move through these questions, and people can stay on if they think they might get something out of the answers. So yeah.
Yeah, let me stop recording here. I'm just going to